Thank you very much. And to start off this event, I would like to call upon stage Professor Dr. Madiha Hashmi, who I will let introduce herself. But the one thing I want to note is that none of this would have been possible if she were not here to support us. So a big round of applause for Dr. Madiha Hashmi.
Thank you very much, and a very warm welcome to all the esteemed guests who have traveled across the country, and especially Professor Young. And where is Richard? I don't see him. Richard, please come and sit in the front. He's the patient advocate. He has traveled all the way from UK, Mr. Dr. Babar Saeed. So I'm really very grateful to all of you to be here. And it's a real pleasure and an honor for me to introduce International Severe Acute Respiratory Infections Consortium, ISARIC, which is the driving force behind all the PPIE activities that we are currently involved in. So ISARIC was basically born after the H1N1 infection that happened in 2009. A group of clinicians and researchers and stakeholders, public health. So everybody realized the need to have a rapid response to research, but that is also coordinated and harmonized. So that is the reason why this was set up. And the mission of ISARIC is to basically prevent illness and death from severe infectious diseases. So this is some of the work that ISARIC has done so far. So REMAP-CAP is a community-acquired pneumonia randomized trial that was done during COVID, and many of the therapies that were found to be effective was as a result of this recovery trial, genomics. Then they have a database that has more than 1 million patients from COVID on it. And fortunately, Pakistan has been part of all these activities of ISARIC. So ISARIC has representation from nearly 140 countries across the globe, and more than 50% of all these networks have their headquarters based in a low middle income country. There are 4 hubs through which most of the work will be operationalized. The South Asian hub is led by myself, and there is John Amwasi for African hub, Dr. Janice Koali from the Southeast Asian hub, and Fernando Boza for the South American hub. And the South Asian hub, we have 8 countries, and we are collaborating with all of them. We have recently held a course where we had a team from Nepal. A course next week, we'll have a team from Bangladesh. So ISARIC remit is basically based around 3 pillars. The first pillar is around severe infectious diseases, which includes severe acute respiratory infections, dengue, arboviruses, filoviruses. So these are all diseases that are very, very relevant to most of the low middle income countries. And the second pillar that you see revolves around developing data pipelines and the management system, clinical trials management system. The third pillar is around capacity building. So the capacity building, there is clinical research during outbreak course, which we have held, will be held in all the 4 hubs. We are holding the second course next week, and few of the scholars are here who attended the course last year. And the aim is by the end of 5 years, we'll have a pool of about 200 to 300 researchers who are trained in outbreak research. And PPIE activities is the most important and involved in all of these activities, and we are here today. Thank you very much, all of you who are here and helping us towards setting up a national PPI group. Thank you very much.
My name is Timo, and I am one of the other faces of public engagement of our group. You have already met my Ustad, my teacher, Professor Dr. Madiha Hashmi, my work wife, Dr. Rishe Husseini. And we are very sad that a third member of our group, Professor Nikat Ahmed, who's also one of our founding coordinators, she's a retired neuroscientist. She's joined us online. We're very sad she can't be here today, but she is in spirit, and it is her energy, motivation, and support that has enabled us all to be here. And I am so absolutely delighted to have a room full of people who share in our passion of public engagement. And we have a huge treat for you today because a pioneer in Pakistan health research, Dr. Babar Saeed Khan, has come to give us a keynote presentation to enlighten us, to inspire us, to think about how can we be pioneers and promote the patient voice and Awaz se Aghaz. So, can I please welcome to the stage Dr. Babar Saeed Khan.
Assalamualaikum, everybody. I mean, first, a disclaimer, pioneer is a big word. I'm a humble person, honestly speaking, and that's what I try to do, to introduce myself as a person who's trying to justify his existence, and that's it. For this initiative, which Ziauddin has taken, trust me, it's very important and very pioneering nature. The team, the tall men here, Harishe, the movers and shakers, and of course the leadership, Madiha, Nighat, and of course the Varda as well. I mean, that's the team. So they have done a tremendous job. We have been with them and trying to come with our humble capacities and build this nationwide thing. I would like to start with a story. I mean, and how that is going to be happening. I have a very good neighbor. His name is Jamshed is his name, and we have a good friend, Fahim. Um, Three of us with our families, we used to go walk every evening. When you're getting old, you try to do things which can keep you happy and healthy. So, and we have lots of discussions while we are having our evening walks. What actually happened one day? I mean, Jamshed was not feeling well. His wife was there, and his best friend Karim was there too. So all three of us were discussing about the fact that Jamshed badly needed a car for the transportation. And we had long discussions about the what kind of makes are available. Shall we go for the SUV or for the sedan? What size, what model, what trim, what color? All the things we chose ourselves, and then we somehow got the car. But while doing all these things, we forgot to ask Jamshed, what do you want? So the problem was that it was not the right fit. To the audience, my question would be, did we do an absurd thing or did we do the right thing? So those who feel that that was an absurd thing, which we did, please raise your hands. All right. So majority feels that that's for the wrong thing which we did. So the keynote is delivered already. Um, what we need to now in remaining time do is to in fact touch about the nuts and bolts and about the chemistry and about the mechanics of PPI, right? GCP E6R3, pretty much all of us are familiar with. And what actually happened there? They transformed the person, the subject, into partner. Why? What is the philosophy behind it? Because anybody who is contributing in any way to the pursuits of research needs to be a partner rather than a subject. So there's a transformation. There is a shift of thinking. Patient centricity is now being talked and now being discussed and now being practiced at many of the places in the world, and that is what is important. Because anybody who is part of the research needs to be a partner, not in a different capacity just to receive few things. then it's a basically a shared journey. I mean, where I remember. I mean, yesterday I was having three monitors at my place to monitor two of the trials, and I was at this sum up meeting. I was listening to the discussion between my clinical research coordinator and the monitor. And you know what was happening? You guys don't understand what we are doing. We are here at the site and we are, in fact, feeling the heat of the moment. You guys just say, do it and do that. And that's what, on the contrary, what CRA, the monitors were thinking, they were discussing, hey, we have some rules. We have some instructions. We have some checklists which we have to mark with. And there are some compliance issues. So you need to understand that. Folks, the thing is in clinical research, its drug development process is something which is being done by different teams, by regulators, by sponsors, by CROs, by the sites, by the CRCs, by IRB, and by the patients, of course. So everybody wants to be part of that activity which is happening in research. Alone, no one can do things correctly. So that needs to be activity which is the team activity. Without involving people, if we, again, another story, because it's easy. I'm not a person who's very good in communication, so I try to throw stories so that people can understand better. We happened to establish one charitable clinic in one of the remote areas of Pakistan. It was a funded project, and we went there. And on the main street, we hired a good place, nice place, and introduced a diagnostic and curative center there. 6 months passed, nobody was coming there. I was shocked what's happening. And trust me, the morbidity patterns were so bad in that particular area that lots of people were dying of, kids were dying of diarrhea. And then maternal mortality was because of the, not correctly managed labors. So there was a Juma prayer. And after the Juma prayer, I sat with the Imam. And I said, hey, what is happening? We are here in your place for last 6 months and people are not coming here. He said, Doc, you don't know what's happening. I said, what? He said, leave this place where you're practicing. Go to the back street and go to the back street and find a place there and then again introduce this the same project. Trust me, next 3 months, the attendance was 40 to 50 per day. See, this is what actually happens when you're not addressing the needs of the community. We don't know. We are from outside. We don't know what is their requirement, what are their customs, what are their ethics, what are their, likes and dislikes, and we just try to impose things on them. That's not how things work. So basically, what is that? Unless you involve people in community and in whatever you're doing, then you'll be able to do it correctly. Now, good initiative again by those four and many other. We are humble contributors. We try to chip in with our honest and modest contributions. But the small seed which was sown here at Ziauddin University, I tell you, I mean, it's already having its vibes pan Pakistan. We have members now. We have people who are interested. I was really very impressed by the passion and how I gauge the passion. Then, and all of you who were there, you could listen. Who was the loudest clapper of the session there? Right, the tall guy. This is the passion. And that's what I was trying to explain to him, that this passion is meaning a lot. And this is advocacy. Advocacy, you just cannot do like a sermon. You have to act. You have to come up with some beautiful idea which you have purchased completely, sold to it. And now you want to sell the same idea to the other people. And that's what is required. Okay. The continuum, probably introduction is not the right word. I asked my daughter to change it, but somehow she didn't change, and then it's here and right now. How this continuum is working. The first of all, people need to know what this PPI is. Kis chudiya ka naam hai? I mean, what that thing is. So we need to know, and awareness and advocacy. whereby people would be sensitized and have a feel of it, that what actually this thing is. And once that is done, then people who have interest, who have passion, who are relevant, then they will be in fact involved with that. They will develop interest in putting their skills into that. So that's how things move forward. And then they involve people around. The circle of influence. Everybody who is having a circle of influence, they will be talking to the same concept to the people around them. So gradually there'll be public involvement, as we are seeing evolving this PPIE philosophy here in Pakistan. And with the involvement, then people will get engaged. Today, in the workshop, there was a last component which was asked, that come up with the leader of your group. There were 6 groups there, and I was happy to see engage that lots of people wanted to participate. They just wanted to be part of that program, which is going to come up with the governance structure, come up with the vision, finalize the vision, and come up with the mission statement, have strategic objectives, then have smarts, all those kind of things. So it was clearly visible participation by the people who wanted to go for that. And then, of course, the empowerment partnership. Once you know what you're doing, once you're clear about that concept, and then you're really moving forward with that, then you can of course be the partner there. There are lots of examples, and you can just go through this, that whenever people have asked before implementing. I remember a long time back when I started my career in 1985. Do I look that old? I graduated in 1985. So, medical graduation. So, I was having a USAID project about this voluntary surgical contraception, and VSC. And there was a center established for 3, 4, 5 years, but somehow that was not working. I thought what we should do. I went to the mosques and told the imam, the leader of the mosque, that if the kids are 3 and 5, which one would be easier to manage? Simple things. And then they were involved. Some of the imams, they gave sermons to the audience in the Jummah prayers as well, that hey, go for that. So these things do work. When we have seen the results, and you just observe the papilloma virus debacle which we had in Pakistan. It was imposed. It was not advocacy. It was not awareness. It was just through a bombardment of, I would say, irrational kind of advertisements. So that was fired back. And people were not really opting for it. This is what the lesson learned is. So we have lots of examples whereby we can, be learning from these mistakes which we have committed, and what some wise men said, that one who is senile. What is the definition? You keep doing the same mistake and expect different results. So let's not repeat the same mistakes again. And now, how this PPI is going to strengthen the research. Uh, Customization of the local. In the E6R3, you also see the design. The in fact focus is on the change and customization of even the design of the research. So, and quality also needs assessed through design. So these things are now being studied, practiced, and proven to be the right way to do. So engagement and of the people in the research makes it easy. I'm right now doing a Abbott research about the diagnostic tool which is being developed for the confirmation of dengue in our population. And initially, Abbott was thinking that we have this tool, this kit can diagnose the lateral flow blood and the capillary blood and the plasma from all the IgG and IgM and the antigen, all 3 of the parameters to diagnose. But when we started collecting the samples, most of them, 60-70% was IgG. So they said, what's happening? We in fact tried to have this thing done for all those 3-4 things, but we are only finding IgG. Why? Because they didn't know that there is the epidemic of dengue happening for last few years, and people already have developed IgG. So that was coming. Most of the positive cases were for IgG. This is the kind of thing which you can all, you can, then we amended the design, and now we're coming up with, change the design. So the whole idea is strengthen the quality of the research, and that can be done. And one more thing is the transparency. Um, I remember, I mean, while I was doing my observations, when I was developing my national framework for patient safety and quality of care, and infectious disease hospital was one of the place which was selected to be one of the, specialty hospital. I checked 7 patients for the consent form, and trust me, I mean, none of the patient actually knew what was written in the consent form, but they were thumb impression, they were signatures. So this is and in the consent form, everything which is written there, that needs to be explained to the patient, and that is required. These things make research more palatable, easier. People do adopt it, and they are for it now, and then they recommend other people as well. Otherwise they say, hey, don't go there, I don't know what they're doing. So that kind of distrust which is there, right? uh Now, if we plan early, that's better. If we identify the stakeholders, today in our group, we were having discussion about stakeholders. Some of the people felt that's a very strong word, but somehow, as this is easily understood by the people, so important is that whoever is the stakeholder of this PPI initiative, we need to acknowledge that and put them in the group. Then instead of competition, collaboration, partnership, that's what is the buzzword nowadays, and the right word, because lots and lots of work to be done, and no single institution or few institutions can do that. So we have to have partnerships, and all those partnerships should come up with their respective engagement tools. So what will make them happy, what will keep them involved, and then building their capacity, like this orientation, like that workshop, and then of course the kind of things which all of us are trying to build, the IEC material, information education communication material. There be one repository where everything will be there, as we have. Even you go to the website now, and we have few things even now. And then of course the cycle can only be completed once we have this feedback loop, which is coming up probably in second or third presentation today. This is required, right? And then everything with, then if we've done this way, then it's recognized. Another example, similar kind of thing, when people were involved, the success rate was much better. Similar was with the HIV engagement as well. We had some bad epidemics in some parts of the Pakistan, the Larkana thing. If you remember HIV about a few months back, those kind of things are happening. And I'm doing a research now about the hepatitis D, and I was shocked. I knocked the doors of all the major labs in Pakistan, and to my surprise, utter surprise, main concentration of hepatitis D was in the southern Punjab and northern of Sindh. Those are just, I can say, uh, probably 2 to 3 100 kilometers radius, that was having 60 to 70% of the patient population. So we have to engage patients from there, and they're coming now to the Pindi. So this is what it is which you learn when you engage people. Now, power of network. Every individual is having a different capacity. Every individual is having a different strength, as every institution is having a different strength. Some have good research programs, some have good people, some have good systems, some have good processes, some have good physical infrastructure. All those things needs to come together. Whoever is having whatever is strength, they should come up with that strength, and then collectively make something which is visible, good, and nice. If we want to shape the future, then people-centered research, how we can do that, that needs to be not a sporadic activity happening here and there, the islands of activity happening here and there. We need to have a national commitment, and this is how the national commitment is initiated. We will be coming up with a national body here, and that is going to be taking care of the things, and the main stakeholder representative of the PPI concept and philosophy in Pakistan. then integrate that with the training and awareness. People need to know, and people need to be aware, and people need to be trained to actually talk right things about that. And of course, you cannot run a car unless you fuel it, no matter you have a Ferrari, but you have to fuel it. And for that you need to have a good project, good proposal. This was discussion happening at our place as well, in the point in the discussion point 3, whereby how we can sustain these programs. If you have a beautiful program, if you have a nice program, I tell you, there is never a dearth of the funds. If you know how to do it and you can defend it, your foots are on the ground clearly, then you can find the funders. But for that you need to have a solid footing. Inclusivity, everybody should be included in that, and there should be a sustenance plan, who is doing what and till what time, and then new people will be coming and they'll be doing it, so there is a sustenance mechanism with all the required improvements which needs to be there. And with this, I am saying thank you very much to the organizers of this summit, and I'm looking forward to keep contributing in the humble capacities of all of us. And I can see that this small sapling which has just been sown today will be a nice tree in times to come. Not very far times to come, in months or maybe a couple of years. So probably that's what the whole idea is. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Babar, and it means a lot to us younger people. I'm not young, I'm not Gen Z yet, but for us younger individuals to be able to lean on you and get your guidance and your support, it means a great deal. Now, this is your unique opportunity to ask Dr. Barber a few questions. We have about 10 minutes to have a conversation. I would particularly love to hear from people who are skeptics, who want to say something controversial, want to challenge this notion, or if you have any questions to Dr. Barber about his thoughts on public engagement and research, this is your opportunity. So we have a mic over here if there is anyone who would like to ask a question, and we have online people checking if there are questions as well.
No. Well, I tell you, I mean, I know that I'm not too good an educator. If nobody asks any question, there are two options. One is that they understood everything. I'm not that good a speaker. Second thing is that they don't understand anything, so there are no questions, which is again not a good. You guys are not goofy. You guys are smart people, all of you. So if some things are there to be sorted out, we need to have questions. Sunny, please.
Assalamu alaikum. Thank you so much for a really insightful talk, Dr. Babar. My question is based on your experience of research in Pakistan. What do you think are the biggest challenges that this august group will face in developing PPIE in Pakistan?
When I came back from US, I remember, I mean, I stayed for a year and I was looking forward to have some place which is having some research. And there was not many research happening. Then the chair of the ACRP in US told me that, what are you doing there? I said, nothing in clinical research. So she said, people are asking me that how ACRP Global can help them. I thought, sounds, I mean, ridiculous, but we had a litmus, and that litmus was we conducted the small provincial meetings, roundtable meetings, and that roundtable meeting was really very successful. People were really, I was shocked and surprised by the question, by the enthusiasm, by the passion of the people. There were only 48 people which were the member of that WhatsApp group, and now it's close to 400 people who are member of that clinical research WhatsApp group. And we had these meetings. So the challenge is, number one, nobody probably is taking initiative to come forward and then let the people know that this is going to happen. One. Second is that once that is done, then where to go to have some trials and what to get for that. It was in a humble effort, but it was so successful. Clinical Trial Summit of Pakistan. We had 22 international speakers. We had WHO, we had ACRP, we had lots of good institutions, FDA, so the lots of people, and this was attended by more than 2,000 people. Good. And after that, lot of international things are coming up, lot of CROs coming up. We recently started, IQ was already here, but we started ICON, and few more CROs are coming up. It's not a like switch on, switch off thing, I tell you. I mean, you have to wait, consistently continue working the good work which you're doing, give good results, provide good database. I tell you, next time they'll come for sure for us. And then they've started coming. So that was the second thing. Third thing was very important about the draft. The regulatory authorities. What was there? The situation was that you need to go to the local IRB first, and then once that is approved, then you go to the NBC, and NBC, once you get approval from NBC, then you go to the draft CSC. It was taking forever, 4 to 5, 6 months. And by that time, sponsor, we're done with our trial. This was happening. So we pushed. As a WHO consultant, I requested WHO to come up with some, activity whereby we can have draft come up with some shorter, version of their approval process. And now the concurrent things are happening. You just submit your NBC application, and the receipt which you go to the CSC will put you in the agenda. We got all approvals even in 10 to 12 weeks at times. This is beautiful that is happening. So transformation is there. But remember, I mean, challenges are there too. Best thing is that we have big patient population. We have treatment naive patient population. We have good diversity of the genetic diversity here, and it's very cost effective to do research here. I pay $32 per hour to my staff there in US, and we are paying 100,000 rupees to a CRC here. Just compare the cost, peanuts. So every possible thing is here in Pakistan to come up with the research. We need to stick. We need to, come up, and we need to extend synergy. I hope I gave the answer.
You did better than any of us could. And we have another question from the audience.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted to know, as we have the right to information, and when you talk about clinicians and physicians, a patient coming to them, there is a concept of shared decision making, that throughout the care process and making decision regarding their health, the clinician should include them or their attendants or both of them in the decision making about the health. So in PPIE, we are focusing on research projects and different research designs in which we are engaging, or research trials in which we are engaging the voluntary participants, or if it's a community-based trial, we are engaging the participants from the community, and we are informing them, involving them, and engaging throughout the process. So do you think shared decision-making for the service delivery is also part of the PPIE, or it is a parallel concept for the service delivery? Because there we are using evidence-based medicine, and all drugs being given there or medicines prescribed, they are supported by the evidence. But in trials, it's new drug or something new you are bringing into. So should we include shared decision-making part of PPIE?
Aisha is one of the, I would say, I mean, few people in Pakistan who really are working very, very hard to come up with, with the solutions. In my opinion, there is no one formula which answers every question. You have to customize. You have to, depending on the protocol, depending on the design, depending on the, sponsor, depending on the requirement. I would give you here the example of EUA, emergency use authorization by the WHO for the COVID thing. I was the opponent of that actually, because lots of shortcuts were made in that. I'm a strong supporter of primary prevention and vaccine development, but the way things were done with the EUA, so at times you have to come up with customized solution as per need. So probably the answer would be whenever and wherever possible, engage them as much as you can in everything, decision making, design, execution, operation, in everything. But probably this is not possible at this point in time at every level. So we have to move forward, keep going, and then carving the way for the engagement as much as possible.
Please put your hands together for Dr. Barber.
Just a minute. Whenever and wherever this cause will ask us to come, we'll be there, rest assured.
Because when Dr. Barber says wherever, whenever, all I can think about is Shakira, Shakira. So, but not really the the point today. So I think one of the things that we have seen already from Dr. Barber's speech and those who attended the workshop is that patient and public involvement and engagement isn't just some lofty idea or theory or something we are borrowing from high-income countries. It is actually happening. It is being done. And there are some excellent initiatives all across the country doing this work. We heard some this morning in our workshop, and now we're going to hear from 4 additional institutions. So I invite Arishay back to do the introductions.
I'm too short for this. I genuinely cannot see anyone. But so part of the process of arranging this summit was that we invited all of our collaborating institutes to present, to share some ideas that they would like to undertake as we move forward. And there were a few institutes that had extremely promising proposals that we now wish to share with all of you to inspire you, to give you more ideas, for you to give us feedback on. So without making you wait any longer, can I please invite the Chukta Institute of Pathology team from Lahore to come and deliver their presentation. So yes, thank you.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. I am Dr. Sitra. I am working as a resident pathologist at Chukta Institute of Pathology. And thank you, Rishi, and the whole team of PPIE, as it is a great honor for me. It's okay. It's okay. Sorry for a pause, as we have to arrange the slides. It's okay? Okay, thank you. It is a very great honor for us, my team, on the behalf of Sukta Institute of Pathology. I appreciate the hard work of the team of PPIE, and they selected us for the participation. Dr. Hijab is my senior and consultant, and she led our team at Sukta Institute of Pathology. First of all, I would like to highlight the title that they selected for this event, that is Awaz se Aghaz. So we also have Aghaz from our institute by first time participating in the summit. So what motivated us? That is by the goal of making research inclusive and community centered, as collaboration is very important to the participation of the community, patients, and researchers as well. So it seeks to ensure the patients and public input that guides the study design and the outcome, so that we can achieve our final goal of the participation of the public and patient involvement. We aims to build the trust and enhance the real world impact of health research. So what we proposed in our session for the further proposal from our side, that is that we will conduct the regular blood drives at community centers, workplaces, and educational institutes. As we all know that blood donations, we cannot force anyone, any individual or community to donate the blood. because there are many myths which are surrounding in our society that it will take a long time if a person can become sick after giving the blood and a person can get infected after it. But it is a very simple procedure. It takes only 8 to 10 minutes to draw a blood, and it takes only 30 minutes to cover up the patient and stand on his feet, and a person becomes fit after donation of the blood. It is basically also healthy for a person to donate this blood. As Chuktai Lab is also a member and partner with the Hemophilia Society of Pakistan, so we also arrange the blood donations at our blood banks. We have currently two blood banks at Lahore, one at Karachi, one at Sahiwal, and one at Gujranwala, which is already working to give the blood. So we now have decided to conduct regular blood drives at different communities, awareness campaigns through seminars, social media, and posters about the myths which are circulating in society that they should be reduced, and about the benefits in the patient and community as well of the blood donation. We will also implement the strict screening for infection. As you all know, that Suktai Lab gives also diagnostic features to the patient. We are doing also net testing different infectious diseases like HIV, hepatitis B, C, C plus, and malaria. We will screen of the donor free of cost about the screening of his or her blood, and we will also give the prerequisites about counseling of data person that it will be also healthy for you and the patient as well. We will also provide the proper post this blood donation care, refreshments, and vital monitoring. Yes, that is also very important, giving them juice and their vital monitoring like pulse, blood pressure, so that a person becomes calm that now I am safe. A person will be also having a benefit of becoming knowing his blood group, because many of the persons in our society, they even don't know what is their blood group. When they come into any accident or any mishap in their life, they are having a universal blood group. So at that time, a person can also know about his in our blood donation drive. A person will also be able to know his blood group, his HB level, even his screening test will also be helpful for even a simple community. Partner with the patient welfare organizations, as I have told you that I have also, as you all know, that Chuktai Lab has also a very good relation and with welfare organizations, and we arrange the bloods for them. So what we will do in our next steps in first 1 to 4 months, we'll execute the community-based blood drives, our mobile donation units. We will also arrange the donor registration drive so that further we can contact them. In next 5 to 8 months, expansion into corporate and educational setups, monitoring of the turnover of our donors, and strengthening the collaboration with the patients and societies. Then we'll review our progress, we'll assess our donor feedback and adjust the strategies to improve the efficiency and impact. So sustainability is very important, and the most foremost part of the research. How we will sustain it will build a long-term community partnership. Our volunteer networks will establish the annual donor recognition programs to retain the regular donors. Will secure the sponsorships and government supports for financial and logistical continuity. So at the end, I would like to thank to our PPI group. And the most important thing which I faced today, that I was not bored in the whole workshop. I was very active and engaged in that first time in my life that I was very active in any workshop and listening everyone carefully. And my mind was working. I have to give this idea, and this idea. Thank you.
Thank you so much, and for that amazing presentation, super inspiring work. I hope that gives a lot of people a lot of ideas of what they can potentially do within their own institutes, both nationally and internationally. The Next institute I would like to invite is the Shalimar Institute of Health Sciences, which is also traveling all the way from Lahore. So if I can request someone from the team to come and present, that would be amazing.
I hope people can see me. I guess I'm not that tall here either, as somebody else said. Thank you very much, Marishi. Thank you, Thibaut, and I guess the whole PBI team. This is obviously something new for me, to be honest. Before coming in to the stage of proposal submission, I must admit my ignorance. I wasn't really aware of the existence of the initiative. So because I know there is a restricted time, it was a great morning with all the talk and everything. So I'm representing Shalimar Institute of Health Sciences. My background is I'm a clinician scientist. Apart from being a PhD FRCP, I'm also a clinical pharmacologist, and I have a huge long history of running clinical trials. So I've worked kind of a lot in community, but also into kind of more in drug development as well. At the moment, I'm working as Director of Clinical Research at Shalimar. I'm also chairing the Research Advisory Committee there. I run the Hypertension Clinic and Vascular Aging Program, and I'm also in academic in pharmacology. I'm very glad to have my team, Professor Neela Jalees. She's head of biochemistry, but she's also very interested in hypertension, and Mr. Ali Khan, who helps us with our partnership programs. So I think the one final thing in terms of my introduction and where this thing coming from is that I chair the International Society of Hypertension chair for South Asia, Central Asia. And that is where the outreach we have for patient and public engagement. So my title is Grassroots Pathways to Healthy Aging. I don't know how many of you read MIT or Nature, but we know that we are going towards reversal of aging. That's the big thing now. And that has a very special context in terms of low-income countries. So where did it actually all emerge from? The idea that we do a lot of outreach into shanty towns and small places, looking at people's blood pressure screening programs. And that's where the whole idea actually emerged when we were listening to people's stories about how much they know about blood pressure, how much they know about vascular aging, what are the barriers to, improving their control. And that led to the idea, the fact that all the interventions we are offering patients in our clinics or even in the community actually do not mean much because they are talking different aspects of their issues in life, and we are just offering them our own judgment and decision into treatment. So what we wanted to do was look at whether they have issues about diet, their lifestyle, exercise, etc. And there's some pictures you can see. We already have patients going through the program that we are teaching them to be ambassadors, to go into the community and actually teach their communities, their neighborhoods, how to perform these measurements and how to take the message of looking after your heart health. So the proposed activity we have, and actually I'm kind of being a bit generous in propose, we're already doing it in some form, is development of focus groups. So this is the way we wanted to start. We wanted to hear the story of people in terms of what challenges they face, what are they currently doing. So I call it the wounded storyteller, because I can tell you most of the people I talk about in my camps, in my clinic, in the public, they are wounded because for a variety of reasons, we are in a very broken, fragmented healthcare environment without very much community intervention. So I think once we have a lot of knowledge about what people think, we can actually go and sow seeds of change. And that will be developing a program. We already have an idea, and then we can take it to schools, communities, hospitals, and other public engagement groups and talk about how we can map this. How can we develop drives to actually make a change? Because these people's voices actually will be incorporated. Then we obviously have to tailor-made a program and develop a community voice. For healthy aging, I call a commons of care. So, we have a commons in Britain, in the parliament, but I think this is a commons for people who are striving for better care. And then I think finally, what we want to do is to develop what we call echoes of the future, which is a toolkit, really. And I've done some work with the International Society of Hypertension, where we've developed toolkits for general public or patients to understand when they go to, caring for hypertension, what exactly happens? What is their blood vessel? What is the heart? All that. So I can build on that in the Pakistani context. So I think that is going to be very useful. And again, of course, we can present it next year somewhere and like see how that matches with other communities. In terms of timeline, I think I was thinking of 6 months, but I think, to be honest, it's probably going to be maybe more like a 1-year project. So you will spend 2 or 3 months probably in planning, because this is quite an ambitious initiative. Because you can see we are not just focusing on patients, we are also focusing on the community. I'm also focusing a lot on young people. Because remember that when we talk about vascular aging, if you start doing these initiatives and people who are 60-year-olds, it's not going to be as beneficial. So it has to start in schools. So, what about school meals? Most of them are very healthy if they get any, and the street side food they're eating. If you think about exercise, and I love this picture there where you see, you like to have shoes on and walk in beautiful parks. But what we have is, in our context, is smog-filled streets. How are you going to walk? So what can people tell us how they can overcome these challenges? So this has to be a lot of the wounded storytellers' time to actually give us that. And I think the next 3 months, we can then start planning workshops, capacity building, and come up with some kind of a framework which can be woven into some form of toolkit. So I don't think it's going to be a very linear process. It is going to be a lot of overlap, back and forth. And like clinical audits, whatever we achieve at every stage will inform maybe a change of plan. So it has to evolve as time goes. And finally, I think once we can achieve the document, which can be, used to build ambassadors, send them into the community. And my idea is really of a citizen scientist, because we have it for a lot of non-healthcare domains like international bird watching, climate change advocates. So why can't we develop this concept in healthcare? So this is, I think, the way to go. Rather than just focusing into research, there's a lot of advocacy that we need in low-income countries. We started doing this in our clinic, for instance. I found out, because of a lot of that wounded storyteller, we always thought, why are people not taking the medicines when we're prescribing them? And they come back to me with a blood pressure of 200. And it's transpired, really, we are always blaming them, but actually it was far more complex that they're not taking. It transpired that there are many clinicians they're going to who are telling them that only take them your BP is high. So really it's a very complex situation. Unless you talk to those people, you will have a story that they can tell. So I will really stop here. I think the outcomes, I think, is if you develop a very successful citizen scientist program, as many countries like in Europe have done. I know for all the lifestyle prevention, in terms of Ireland, UK, and the rest of Europe, we had beautiful international projects which led to improvement on reduction in cardiovascular mortality. So I'm aiming that if we can stop aging as we are prematurely aging in this environment, we will have really beautiful outcomes, less strokes, less heart attacks, and less disability in later life. So thank you all very much. And I forgot to say that, but I want to end at that note, that for me, this is like a homecoming. So a long time ago, I'm a dinosaur, as you can see. A long time ago, I was born in Ziauddin Hospital. And I have... So I was very delighted when I got the email that actually it's a university. So really, so it's a very special moment for me. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Professor Azra, for that wonderful presentation. And I really feel like connecting with this institute has been really enlightening for us. And while Timo and I have been working in this, Timo, myself, Professor Nikit, and I've been working on this for a while, it just amazes me how the human mind works and the ideas that people have. So the more that people talk, the more that they engage, there is so much to learn from other people. And thank you so much for these wonderful discussions and wonderful opportunities to learn. The next institute I am inviting is also from Lahore. And so can I please invite somebody, Professor Aisha from the Institute of Sheikh Khalifa bin Zayed Al Nahyan Medical College, to come and give us a presentation.
Thank you very much for inviting my team and myself here. And I would like to thank Dr. Madiha, Arishe, Timo, and the entire team of PPI for such a wonderful initiative. And I'm representing Sheikh Khalifa bin Zayed, and actually it's the Sheikh Zayed Postgraduate Medical Institute in Lahore. And I just wanted to share, just few months back, I had discussion with Arishe, and this initiative we started working on just for last few months, actually. So the objective, the motivation was a simple but powerful realization that research is truly meaningful only when it serves the people it is meant to help. So, but this was in our mind, in our heart. But when I had a motivational exchange of ideas in discussion with Dr. Arishe, that made this possible, that we started working on it. So the impact we aim to achieve is embedding PPIE is not just about engagement, it's about social accountability and restoring trust between science and society. So to restore this trust, we need to work very hard because practitioners, clinicians, they don't realize how important it is to engage the public or the patients and their attendants in their decision making as well as in their research decisions. So we established a PPI cell at CTU Clinical Trials Unit. This clinical trial unit was established last year, and it got approval from DRAP in phase 3, phase 4 trials. So when I discussed with Arishe about PPIE, so we established a cell at CTU. And then we established a PPI web page and started some technology initiatives. Like we used digital platforms and AI tools to reach the public and in plain Urdu language. And the activities that we proposed, which we will be doing in next 6 months to 1 year, that is developing and training a patient and public advisory group, PPAG, in Sheikh Zayed PGMI, and then integrating PPAG feedback into trial protocols, developing consent forms, and whatever trial is being registered with our CTU, those forms will be redesigned with the consensus of the sponsoring agency to meet the feedback of PPAG. So this is our YouTube channel in which we have converted the published paper. So we research passes through different phases. The first is the designing of research, and then execution, and then publishing. So we have started from the end. We have taken the published papers published in our journal, which is a Y category journal, and we have converted all the abstract into Urdu videos for the layman, for the general public, and Urdu and English, plain English summaries as well. So this is our YouTube channel, Urdu Published Research Abstracts on YouTube channel of college. And this is the proceeding where we are offering public summaries as well as the video abstract. And this is the Facebook page where this is a separate page for PPIE. And here we are also again sharing the same abstracts. And this is the web page on the website of our medical college, which shows the separate page. But we are planning to have a separate website for PPIE. So takeaways: by ensuring our trials are ethically grounded, contextually relevant, and socially responsive, we expect to see stronger trust, improved recruitment and retention, and a genuine sense of ownership among patients and communities. And so these initiatives, they are first step, and we are going to move ahead with collaboration with all other institutes. So it was wonderful listening to all the experiences and initiatives taken by other institutes. So very well done. Congratulations. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Professor Aisha. And I remember she sent me a WhatsApp message saying, "Hi, Arisha, if you're free, can we talk for 5 minutes?" And I was like, "Yeah, of course." And we spoke for, I think, about 45 minutes. The call just wasn't ending because I was so excited that there is somebody else trying to talk about PPI. And she was so excited that something like this was happening. And I felt very sad after I got that call because I think we could have spoken for a lot longer that day. The last institute that I would like to invite up on stage is the Sindh Institute of Advanced Gastroenterology. And I do have to note that this is one of the fastest institutes that have collaborated with us and have started producing output already. So a big round of applause to the Sindh Institute of Advanced Gastroenterology. Siag.
Assalamu alaikum. So my name is Dr. Sania. I'm representing Sindh Institute of Advanced Gastroenterology, also known as SIAG. So what was our objective? SIAG serves patients from across Pakistan, all regions like Sindh, Punjab, Quetta. We have patients from all of these regions. However, all of these regions, we face uh, language barriers, literacy barriers, which makes communication harder for us. When we recently conducted a clinical audit at SIAG, the findings revealed that despite explaining patients in their preferred languages, they were not understanding what the consent form was all about. So this is where we started this project with Dr. Arisha and her team, where we decided that are the patients truly signing the consent form if they're not even understanding the meaning of it? So we decided that this is going to be our focus, and we are going to make consent forms more clear, more simple, and multilingual. This is not only going to help patients and families understand, but truly help them understand the meaning of a consent form. What can we do? We can establish a multidisciplinary PPI team. This is going to consist of all patients, attendants, clinicians, all linguistics, conduct focus groups for discussions to first review the consent form, identify the areas where the communication section feels a bit difficult, and then they can revamp it according to the communication barriers that we are facing. Eventually, once we co-develop these simplified consent forms, these are going to be translated into different languages like Urdu, Sindhi, and regional ones. We can then conduct a pilot study to have a patient feedback, and then training sessions with our doctors and staff can then be communicated. We can definitely use visual aids and infographics to support low literacy users. Next steps. We're going to implement these revised consent forms at our institute once we have completed the project. We are going to evaluate the patient comprehension and satisfaction through clinical audits and regular feedback. We can create a multilingual library which is not only patient friendly but has consent templates that are very simplified. We can share findings with via institutional reports and national PPI forums. And I think we're going to collaborate with all of these groups and hospitals that we met today. Establish a sustainable framework embedding patient input in SIAG's research and clinical practice. Our key takeaway is that we want to turn consent form into a true understanding by involving patients, not just as recipients of care, but as active partners in shaping it. We do not want our consent forms to be just a mere signature, but to empower patients through language and inclusion. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Sania. She's actually one of the members of our new interim council that's going to be leading the way to develop a national network for patient and public involvement and engagement. So huge congratulations and thank you for your collaboration. So at this time, I'd like to ask our wonderful staff members if they could help get the chairs on stage for our panelists, please. And whilst we're setting up for our panel discussion, I did want to say a few thank yous to our team members. Very importantly, Faraz, can you come here, please? You're in trouble. So many of you won't know this, but in the background, there's a lot of activity happening to make sure that everything is running smoothly and that people are picked up from the airport, have accommodation, have flights, have tickets, have food when they arrive. And Faraz is behind all of that. So huge thank you to Faraz. Thank you. Also, thank you to our wonderful AV team for all of your help with us illiterate technological people. So thank you very much for you. And we're also incredibly grateful to the whole CCRG team at Ziyadin University, the Critical Care Research Group team led by Dr. Professor Madiha Hashmi. And we genuinely couldn't do this without you. So thank you very much. All right. So I'm going to give a brief introduction before we dive into our panel discussion about our journey. So the patient and public involvement and engagement for us really started off as a bit of a delusional idea and dream of myself and Arisha and Professor Nickett. And about a year into our project, we decided to share the joy and excitement of patient and public involvement and engagement with everyone else. And we didn't want to feel lonely. So we went, I went around the country with a couple of colleagues of mine to find some friends, to find people who would encourage us, who would collaborate with us, who might want to do it with us. And I met some fantastic people along the way and got to see more of the beautiful country of Pakistan. And based on all of those conversations that we had, we then held 2 national collaborator meetings. Those were happening in Lahore and Karachi, and it was really, we had found out during our tour of Pakistan that people wanted to do this. People were interested. They wanted to do public engagement. And these meetings were really for us to figure out, so how do we do this? How do we work all together rather than as individual people struggling to figure out this work? And so we held these 2 national collaborators meetings, and that led us to finally today, where in the morning we had a smaller group discussion and workshop with about 42 members coming from 14 different institutions across the country about what should be the vision and mission of potential national network activities and governance. And we are here standing in front of you today as the 14 institutions, multiple collaborators, and including researchers, patient, public partners, clinicians, non-clinicians, to launch a national patient public involvement and engagement network. And it's been a big journey, and we're so excited to drive it forward and create this kind of community of practice to make a real difference and really start the sound and voice of patients and amplify it. So we had a lot of discussions this morning about the specifics, and what we're proposing is a national network that empowers patients to design and lead health research in Pakistan. And we hope that the national network will do some of these things that are on the screen and a lot more. We want to do capacity building for both researchers and patient partners. So education, webinars, mentoring, fellowships, to make sure that we can really learn what is public engagement, how to do it, and how to do it in a relevant fashion in the context of Pakistan. We want to advocate to NBC, DRAP, and other big decision-making bodies to make sure that PPIE is happening. And we want to do national and international collaboration. We talked a lot about creating awareness, having information for patients so that they can benefit from the wealth of knowledge that we have rather than having to rely on 3-minute interactions with their doctors who don't really want to talk to them, but so that they have access to information that's relevant for them in the languages and formats that are relevant to them. And then we want to do some research into public engagement. For example, the United Kingdom does not have a national network for patient and public involvement and engagement. So Pakistan is pioneering and leading this. And I think one of the big things I want to get across is that, it doesn't have to be a reliance on high-income countries and other places to tell what's possible. This is possible. This is happening, and let's figure out how to do it. We're going to now have a panel discussion with 6 experts in their own respects about this proposal to do a national network for public engagement. They're going to tell us what they think are the challenges, opportunities, and issues that we need to tackle. We invite all of you to contribute to the discussion. You can use this QR code or go on Slido if you're online to contribute and ask questions to our panelists throughout. But at the moment, can we please put our hands together for all of our panelists who I invite to come to the stage now?
Great. Just making sure I don't fall off. Okay. So thank you very much. And so we are all here together to collectively strengthen patient and public involvement and engagement in health research in Pakistan. So I would like to start by asking all of you to give brief introductions about yourself and just let our audiences, both here and online, know who you are.
Hi, my name is Pek Yong Chia, or you can call me PY. I work in Thailand. So in Thailand, I'm part of the Mahidol Oxford Tropical Medicine Research Unit. I'm a professor at University of Oxford. So I lead a network of, you can say, PPI groups. We call them community advisory boards.
Assalamu alaikum and good afternoon. I am Dr. Hanifullah, Deputy Director from Drug Regulatory Authority of Pakistan. Currently, I'm working in the Strategic Office of Science and Technology. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. It's lovely to be here in Pakistan, my first time. My name's Richard Stevens. I'm here because I'm the editor of the Journal of Research Involvement and Engagement. I also chair several patient groups in the UK. I've been involved in research for 30 years, but above all, I am a patient and I need help, and that's why I do PPIE.
Salam everyone. Babar Saeed Khan is my name, medical doctor by profession. Abhi is I'm holding the designation of Director of Clinical Research Trial Unit and in at National University of Medical Sciences, plus ACRP, which is the premier global body for clinical research. I'm the founding president of that, and have been engaged with lots of patient engagement activities in my past years in different capacities as directors of the hospital, teaching hospitals, and as the WHO advisor and then consultant for different patient safety and quality of care networks. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum and good afternoon. I'm Farah Asif. I'm leading clinical research office in Shaukat Khana Memorial Cancer Hospital and Research Center, Lahore. The reason I feel I'm here is that I'm secretary to IRB and I am member of National Bioethics Committee of Pakistan and I'm leading clinical trial unit. So I think these are the few things. That's why I'm sitting here. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum everyone. I am Zahid Shuja. I'm by profession, I'm an HR professional with about 20 years of experience. I'm currently heading a group, a tech group in Karachi, and I'm part of the PPI group member, and it's an opportunity I would love to share my thoughts with you guys. Thank you.
So just because you said that, I'm going to hold you to this and start this panel with you. So my question to you is, from your personal experiences, what does genuine involvement mean to you?
See, involvement for me, professionally and personally, means being heard. Involvement is not just being one of the person in the audience or just a listener. It's also both sides. The communication is both ways. It's to be heard and to hear. So that's what it is for me. So yeah.
And I'd like to ask the same question now to Richard, because he said that he wants help. So how do we help?
I'll tell you, because there is a difference, and this is no disrespect. There is a difference to being heard and being listened to. Right? And the difference is being heard means you have heard my opinion and you're a little bit better informed. Being listened to means you have done something about it. And that to me is what patient involvement should be as opposed to patient engagement. Patient involvement is when we actually have a say in the decisions. Not just giving our opinions, but a say in the decisions when we make a difference to what is actually happening, to the way the research is designed, to the way it's conducted, and above all, to the way it is implemented. Because the reason we get involved in research is to make a difference in healthcare, make a difference to patients. And that's the difference between being heard and being listened to. Sorry, I get really excited about this stuff.
I'm actually just going to come to PY, if that's okay, and ask that you have such a wealth of experience of actually listening to the communities and listening to patients and getting them involved. So can you share with us how you've done that and what challenges you faced in doing that?
Thank you, Arishay. Thank you for having me here. There are various ways or techniques we employ to ensure that we maximize listening. Sometimes if you ask a direct question, you won't get it, or you ask a question, we frame a question not correctly, you won't get the answer you want. If you say, with this, we want to do X, is that okay? They'll say, yeah, it's okay. So we have to ask the questions in a way that the patients or participants will give you good feedback. So for example, we're doing a project on research priority setting. If I ask a community member, what are your research priorities? They were like, what the hell is this? So we have to design ways to get the answers we want. And we have tried lots of methods, and this is an ongoing project, so I don't have all the answers. So some are just asking them about day-to-day challenges, and that can be health and non-health. So they give you a few things that you have to sort through. So one is to ask verbally, have a workshop style conversation. And one method we have tried is using visual methods. So either drawing or videos. So that will help us facilitate discussion. Asking questions creatively can sometimes help.
Amazing. And if I can just follow up on that by asking, so you've done a lot of engagement work, but so do you think that developing a network like this across Pakistan would strengthen the work that you're doing and the examples that you're giving? What do you think?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, you can see from the various groups that you have here, right? I mean, every group is important. Every group is unique. Every group has its own objective, and every group engages with only a specific group of members. But as a network, you can engage a more diverse group, and you can branch out to different communities, especially communities who are normally not heard. So I'm sure you can start with urban communities, and then later you can branch out to more remote communities involving languages that are a little bit more non-mainstream. And we recently engaged with some blind musicians. So they are visually impaired, and normally they don't get to participate in things like that. But we've engaged them as well. And having one blind person in your PPI group, it's very difficult. But if you go to a group of people who are already there as a group, then that enhances the diversity of voices. Your question was
That is this network.
network. So as a network, you learn from each other and you get these diverse groups, because one group cannot have everybody, right?
Amazing. So I'm come to Dr. Babar and ask him what he thinks are the possible challenges of doing something like this in Pakistan.
Well, before going to the challenges, I would say that involvement thing. A lot of us do just mark the check boxes, right? So one approach is just to mark the check box, yes, I was there. And the other group is, which is, hey, what actually happened? Why did he say that? I mean, that's nonsense. Whatever Dr. Babar is talking about, that doesn't sound good because this is involvement. I mean, when somebody is really engaged and buy-in is there, sync is there. That sync is determining the involvement. So that's important. Now the challenge is, it's. I'm a doctor, and the impression of our medical fraternity, somehow with the passage of time, when the commodification of health services happened, and it transformed from service to commodity. So demand, supply, cost, marketing, sales, all those things came in, and that actually disturbed the patient. वो जो मसीहा की बात थी ना, एक मसीहा, I mean, the person who's taking care of the patients. Like, I remember in my earlier practices, long time back, 85, 86, I'm talking about when I started my practice, people used to ask you that, shall I buy this house or not? Hey, it's not none of my business. Come on, go ahead, whatever you want to do. Or the proposal of my daughter is with this boy. Shall I go for the marriage? I said, come on. So this is the kind of trust and faith we were having. But now the challenge is that many of the patients believe that whatever doctor is doing to make money, which in a way pretty much correct as well. This is one of the biggest challenges. When you lose faith and trust, you lose everything. So that's the one big challenge. Second challenge is the uncertainties everywhere, and overall the culture of kind of a disbelief in everything, be that the national governance or be that the whatever thing. There's overall uncertainty in everything, and that is making people a little worried in making any decision whatever they want to make. So these are the qualitative kind of a challenges, but they are big challenges which do influence. And of course, then if we come to the quantitatively and then very objectively, then for sure, if the material which is being asked for them to be used or signed, if that is not reflecting of what is in there, a very good initiative by the Saad Khalid Niaz team. That, I mean, they involved patients in the conversion or translation of the consent form as per their language. That's beautiful. So this is another challenge which probably needs to be taken care of.
I've got the microphone. Most patients that I've ever met aren't interested in policy. We actually don't understand policy. What we're interested in is pieces of research that actually affect us directly in our daily lives. Of course, policy does, but actually, if I'm a cancer patient, and I have been, I was interested in my cancer, not anybody else's cancer either, just my one. Thank you very much. So those are the things that interest us. And this bit about information, we don't know what we don't know. So I started like everybody else starts, I think, reviewing patient information sheets, participant information sheets. And it was 5 years before I suddenly thought, hang on, I'm reviewing all this information, but I've never seen a trial protocol. I don't know what's in the protocol, so how am I reviewing the information that goes to patients? How do I know what's been missed out? So suddenly we started reviewing protocols, and this is how the UK progressed, because having reviewed the protocols, we started saying, well, why are you doing that? That's rubbish. Let me design your next protocol. And that's how things happen. You start with the intersection between the patient and the research, which is often through a clinician, not always, but often. And then you start crossing over. The clinicians and the researchers come into our lives and start thinking about things like, okay, this drug is going to do that and it's going to kill the disease, which is a good thing, but look at the damage it's going to do to the person's body. That's my life. That's them coming into my life. But we get into research. We get into the designing of the protocols. We end up sitting on funding committees. We end up sitting on policy committees. All of this stuff takes years. It's taken us 30 years in the UK and we're still not finished yet. It's nowhere near ready to go. We don't have a patient network in the UK. You have no idea how far ahead you are in many respects, but there is a long, long way to go. And it genuinely, this is so easy for me to say, start where you are and go in little steps each time. And if you're involving patients, follow their steps, not the ones someone up there says you should be doing. Follow them.
That actually leads very beautifully in my next question, which is to Dr. Farah, about how do you think ethics boards and regulators and communities can work together to strengthen this work?
Thank you, Arisha, and thank you, organizers, for having me. So just one comment to what has been discussed. So it's important that you just said that patients might not be interested in policy and like making it easy for them to comment at times. You would be surprised that patients, do they know that they have a voice? We are talking about this, that we need to include their voice, but do our patients know that they have a voice? That's so important. And maybe what matters to them. You might come across some patients, and if you're asking them about research priorities or you're trying to, get input from them, at times all they would say, "Kya mujhe mufat dawai milegi? Would I get free medicine?" So this is their concerns, right? So this is important to educate and empower patients that yes, we are here to hear you, and that's just we've started that. So thank you, Arisha, for the question coming to this. So IRBs, again, IRBs at the same time they are weak, they are strong. It's hard to say that exactly what their power is, but I believe IRB and PPIs, they can go hand by hand, and together they can make a very good impact. So just sharing a few examples. So how we are starting off. So to start with, is like sharing our example in Shaukat Khanum hospitals. What we're doing is like we are opening a pre-IRB step so that patients and public representatives, they can help us develop, and we seek their input. So we ask them, help us develop these patient, information sheets, and we give them an orientation of the protocol as well. So they know what is the question, and then they can answer, and then they can see, okay, what is the information which is being provided to them. So we want to build on that, and we want what our plan is at step 2, we are going to have these members to sit in our IRBs so that they have a more powerful role and they can feel that they have some role in decision making as well. So that's the plan. And I really want to share something from a National Bioethics Committee perspective as well. So National Bioethics Committee, one thing that they have started to do, there is a mandatory questions in the research review applications that every investigator who is applying, they need to answer that how they have ensured patient and public involvement and engagement in this project. So that's, I think, a very good step to start with. It could be just a tick box activity, but this is how we have started to prompt the investigators, and this is very healthy. If IRBs, NBCs, and then regulators, we have a role and responsibility, because then we believe that these committees, they can influence, and they can influence the uptake of such ideas. So here I would stop, and if other members would like to add. Thank you.
Thank you. That's really a really nice initiative. So I just want to say a little bit about the Community Advisory Board on the Thai-Myanmar border that I mentioned just now. So on the Thai-Myanmar border, there's quite a lot of ethnically Karen groups who come from Myanmar into Thailand. and they sometimes go across the border back and forth. So we have a research unit there working on malaria, TB, etc. So this group helps us with our studies. Every project we have, even prior to protocol writing, we discuss with them first. Without the scientific jargon, we just sound out the draft concept to see whether, okay, is this something that the community would accept? Okay, we want to study XYZ on pregnant women on the Thai-Myanmar border, malaria, blah, blah, blah. And then we first gauge it. When we don't have, we don't have much yet, we gauge it first. And then we draft the protocol. And then, okay, does it look right? We go back. If we ask the pregnant mothers to come 3 times a week, are they going to come? So it's a long process. Yeah, thanks.
Yes. So having a consultation with the patients prior to protocol development is so essential, so useful at times. So just consider an example. So we have a trial. It's an example. So we have a question. So there is a minimally invasive surgery by which there's a surgical procedure and a tube which is called PEG tube. The doctors who are sitting here, they would know. So PEG tube is a tube, feeding tube attached via surgery to your stomachs. And versus we can, and that is there if a patient would have a difficulty in swallowing in their food pipe, like a tumor. So then they can just have that PEG tube surgically placed. Otherwise, it could be just like NG tube, which could just go inside from their nose to their stomach, and it's not a surgical procedure. And as doctors, we would believe why we need a surgically placed tube attached to their stomachs, and this is like all the hazards. So it's just so convenient to have, NG tube whenever it is needed, because the desired outcome is to help feeding. But can you believe, looking at and this was a trial that was designed, and we wanted to take informed consent and randomize patients. And to our surprise, no patient wanted to be randomized. And would you believe why? They would prefer a surgically placed tube over their bellies versus they would not like to have a tube attached to their faces. So this is the patient's perspective. What we feel is, as doctors, a wonderfully, sorted solution, which is less hazardous, but we need to keep in mind what is important to patients. And so this is very important. And thank you for saying that. And Dr. Babar, please.
We were talking about the challenges and we're talking about the ethics board here. My own experience at my university, what you're trying to do is to have people who probably are having some kind of authority when they say something that needs to be executed. So you need to have powerful people as well, right? One. Two, I mean, those people are busy in lots of other things, like head of medical department, head of surgical department, community medicine department head, those kind of people. They are busy in 1001 things. And plus, I mean, it's not their priority, but the management try to put them because that ethics, if somebody would be calling, hey, you come, if they know that pro vice chancellor is sitting there at the chair, they have to come. I mean, they no other choice. So this is a big challenge. One. Two is that I was really shocked. I'm sitting in 3 IRBs, and I'm seeing people who are, in fact, part of the IRB team, the quorum. They are not clearly understanding the scope of the IRB. I mean, they're constantly talking about the technical things. This is ethical thing here. I mean, the IRB, the scope is the patient safety, and then things which are relevant to the patient that needs to be addressed there. But they think this medicine is having this side effect as well. So what? How? This is not the scope of IRB. Please give me a break. But this is happening constantly. I'm sick of this. But this is what it is. Solution is there. Now I told my provisee, I told my provisee, said what is happening, what should I do? I said, let me give you the scope. that these are the set of questions, these are the concerns which they should be asking, so that they should know. You can put people in there in any quorum, in any meeting, but they need to know what is the scope of that particular meeting. You're not running the university as pro visi. You're at this point in time the chair of IRB. So just stick to the things which IRB requires. That's another thing which needs to be taken care of.
Absolutely. Thank you. So, I was just wondering, like, and we had this a bit of this conversation previously about how we don't have a lot of uh, what. So my question actually is, what small steps can we take towards making this a reality across our government and national institutional bodies? So we know what the challenges we can face. We know that, maybe designating roles like having writing out the scopes for different institutes, because we understand that all organizations have their own remit in which they can work in, right? But then my question to all of you is that what are the small steps that we can take to ensure that voices like these and patient involvement becomes a regular conversation in all of these discussions? So what do you think? You can start with you, or Shin?
So, from today's discussion, it is evident that the stakeholder shall come up with the proposal. We will look at to the proposal at policy level. If it is to amend the guidelines, the national guidelines, it is the power of the authority. If we have to amend some regulations, it is power of the policy board. If it is any change in the rules, so we will go to the federal government. But it is the stakeholder to come up with a proposal to bring the proposal to draft. So we will process it accordingly.
And do you think, so just a follow-up question to that, is a lot of our efforts is to develop this network to take that as the next step, to be able to put together a proposal that is then vetted through all of these bodies to see if it works or not. So is this a reasonable idea?
Yeah, this is a reasonable idea. Yeah.
Great, just wanted that validation.
Yeah, we have, beside clinical study committee, we have strategic office of science and technology, which work even in per collaboration and per evaluation of such proposal. And even if they think something from their own side, they usually ask the stakeholder to come up for the solution. Yeah.
You have provided a cue for her to write something, and you'll get it and tell you. So, the whole thing is that we need to carve corridors of whatever needs to be done. And those corridors, no matter people are changing, if Babar is not there, if Richard is there, whoever is there, but path is there. We need to have kind of clear-cut paths carved by the people who actually are the true stakeholders and who are the relevant people. I think that is going to resolve many problems. Not person specific. It should be work and the scope specific.
Absolutely. Does anybody have anything to add? Dr. Farah?
So just a small, so of course you are taking lead, this group, Dr. Madiha's team, Timo, Arisha, you're doing amazing job. We had like all good brains. We had a very great discussion today morning, learnings from this session. But having those people who have a passion, I think that's my investment. In our group, we're so lucky. We have Gulnaz, we have Salima, we have Mariam, we have Tamsila. I'm not taking all the names. All the names were taken in the morning. But the thing is, like the ones who have passion to do it. And if you ask me how this is going to sustain, so I feel they are the ones who would keep it going. It's not just us. So that's my hope as well. Thank you.
Online people, you want to ask them?
So one of the things that I try to do personally is, so I'm a researcher, I'm an academic, and I like to go to conferences where there are people who are not pro, engagement or pro involvement. Just go to a place where you think they're all skeptics. And then try and, preaching to the choir is useless, right? So and I succeeded. Sometimes I get my abstract accepted in conferences where you never ever have a session on engagement. So for example, 2 weeks time, I'm going to the American Society of Hygiene and Tropical Medicine. I'm going to talk about our Bangkok research advisory group. And they accepted it. I was like, wow, yay. But usually, I mean, they're all clinicians and every talk is going to be some biomedical thing. But then there's one talk about our community advisory group. I'm so proud. But I think making an effort to not preach to the choir is really important.
Absolutely, I agree. And with that comment, I pause to check if we have any questions online that our panelists can answer.
So we do have a question online, but if anyone here as well wants to ask a question, put your hand up so I'll come to you with a mic. But from our online participants, wanted to ask practical suggestions from the panel on how to use patient and public involvement and engagement in something like a polio campaign in Pakistan, which has had a lot of public resistance in certain areas of the country, and perhaps even, you know, more relevant recently would be the HPV vaccination and kind of how to manage public resistance to that.
A brief comment. So traditionally, we are a nation and we have not done great when it comes to vaccine sensitive like diseases. So we have done badly in polio, and then recent example of HPV vaccine rollout. So I think the idea is we need to build trust. We need to engage them. We need to hear what are the questions, what are the public questions, concerns, why they are not trusting this HPV vaccine and the polio vaccine. And you would hear all different ideas and concerns from the public about these vaccines. That if this is a koi sazish hai hamare khilaf, they want Pakistani population to, you know, birth control. It is a means of doing like birth control. Is it like, are they putting a chip in our cell? So in COVID vaccine, you would hear, yes, and you know, every possible myth was there. So we need to do a very serious effort in building the trust. We need to hear the questions. We need to find time to answer those questions. If there is a myth, that should be burst. If there is a question, if there is a concerns, we need to, you know, authentic people, scientific people, they should find times, maybe the government or maybe the stakeholders, they should do a very serious campaign, you know, to answer the questions and the concerns. Like one day I was visiting ER and I would hear, and sorry to say, she was a doctor. And then she was telling the other lady that this HPV vaccine, they're doing a trial on us. We cannot accept that. And that is not true. I could not hold myself and was, no, it's not in trial at least. It is an established intervention being tested in the West already. So, but not in my personal capacity, not in the personal capacity of any one of us. But government need to, you know, take it very seriously. They need to find time. They need to, you know, think about it and establish a very good campaign to answer all these questions and concerns and trust. And I think PPIE is the process, is the way to build trust of public. And this is very much needed, especially when it comes to all this vaccine hesitancy. So that's the way I see. Thank you.
Thank you. We talked about this polio and the other. I agree with you that a knowledgeable subject specialist should be talking about that. Agree with that. But I feel that in addition to this, it should be a two-pronged approach. The people who are actually in disbelief they should come forward and they should talk. This is what I was believing. And I saw that, I read that, and I found out that this is not the case. This is something true, which needs help. So, I mean, not only because when expert will come and talk about it, people say, "Aap to mile unke saath, aapka to dhanda chalta hai, aisi sara na," those kind of things. And that's the distress which people, that's a very, very important thing. So people who are actually the disbelievers, they need to come forward and we need to pick them, and they should be talking about in their language, with their style, with their terms, with their jargons, with their kind of using of the words. This is one thing which we need to really look into. And the second thing about this disbelief is that uh, from the beginning, at least 9 to 10 family members call me and ask, ये बच्चों को लगा रहे हैं वैक्सीन डालनी है कि क्या करना है इसका, ये लगाएं कि नहीं लगाएं. Trust me, I mean, they asked me because that was pushed. I mean, in the Punjab, it was pushed without asking, without raising the levels of awareness about the people. ये है क्या, इसका करना क्या है, ऐसी problems क्या है कि हमको ये success rate चाहिए, and it was implemented through the district education officer. I need this much percentage compliance. That's not what things happen actually. आप वो लोग कहेंगे भी साथ में तो वो लगाएंगे नहीं, उसके बाद वो तो छोड़ देंगे उस चीज को. तो when you push things without really raising their levels of awareness about the thing, you won't. And as a result, what actually happens, then a lot of people talk, in loud voices. This is all a sazish and a conspiracy and what that. So I think that's what is required.
So polio specific, as a parent, I'll tell you, anyone who's witnessed or experienced those polio drops people coming to your house, they can't answer your questions. They are just going to tell you that it's a government requirement. If you don't do it, you can be sent to jail. They now threaten you, right? Honestly, it's that bad. And if I'm okay with getting my child getting the vaccine. Like once I asked a very simple question. I'm like, since when have you been carrying this box and these vaccine? It was like 4 p.m. They were at my door. So they're like, I left at 9 a.m. I'm like, can you guarantee me the vaccine in this school box is safe for my child or safe for any child? She just gave me a vague answer. Sir, hum dry ice use karte hain. Sir, we use dry ice. Right? That was it. So I just feel that one of the biggest resistance from a parent would be that I'm okay with getting it done. If it's coming on the doorstep, perfect. I don't have to go to a hospital. I don't have to stand in the line. I don't have to take my son or child to a facility where I know there are already a lot of viruses and a lot of diseases there. Having said that, just answer my simple questions. The people who are coming there, the representatives, should not just have a literature, ye padh le, read this. I am not a doctor, right? Like you said. So they should be at least prepared enough to answer very basic questions. So that's my.
Sorry, can I just because this for me has raised an interesting thing that we're still grappling with in the UK and in the journal. Patient and public involvement actually works on 3 levels. One is the concept, that the patient, the public voice, the need to hear it, listen to it. For want of a better word, democratization of health research and healthcare. Second level is PPIE as a conversation between a group of researchers and different patient groups, the same patient group, one patient advocate, a group of patient advocates about a piece of research or a research program, taking a study from beginning to end. That's the second level, and that's often what industry has to do when they're trialing new drugs. The third level, and this is the one that some patient advocates don't like, is PPIE as a tool, which is you've got a problem, polio vaccine or whatever it might be. You've got a problem. How can PPI fix it? So, and the general answer to that is always it's a question of trust. Trust, perhaps rationality versus belief. So to me, the answer we've had in the UK is find out who people do trust and then fix them. It's, for want of a better phrase, if you can get the imams preaching, as you said earlier, that's one way forward. Who is it people are listening to, and can you convert them to the cause, or at least convince them to actually spread your message? But there are three levels of PPIE, and it's, to me, as researchers or as clinicians, what is it you are trying to achieve, and stick to that. Don't go conceptual if you're just trying to get one research project done. Just get that done, and then you and your patients can move on from there.
Thank you very much. I can understand how patients feel, because I feel like a patient now. Nobody has been listening to me for a long time, so we just had to listen to everybody else. I would just like to say, I think because we had a morning and we were talking about a lot about the PPIE, because I think the whole purpose of even the panel discussion was that. So I'm a little bit confused now, because I thought in the morning the PPI is an overarching initiative, which is about improving people's lives. So, but the panel discussion has really focused on IRBs and research processes and policies. So is a PPI really specifically for research? Because actually that is slightly easier to fix, slightly easier. What is it about in generally improving patients' lives? So I haven't heard anything about clinicians or community workers, because they are the people who talk to the wounded storyteller. It's not armchair academics or people sitting in cozy offices or policymakers. So I haven't heard anything at all. You will have no chances of success if you cannot convince clinicians or community workers to do that, because they talk to the people. So I haven't heard anything about that. It's not going to work.
Thank you for the question. So I think I mentioned to you, to our group this morning, that in my network, so I work primarily in Southeast Asia, we don't use the term PPIE, and we don't worry about what is involvement versus engagement. I say, what's in a name? Forget about that. Think about your objective. And I think our general objective is embedding voices of communities and public in, for me, I have two health and health programs, health research and health programs. What matters is the objective. So it's the objective to make the study more ethical and responsive. It's the objective to make your TB screening program more acceptable. So what's the objective? And then we take it from there. And I try and tell people not to worry about the labeling. It's about the objective.
So, I mean, very correct observation. But the thing is that I again recall the when I joined NUMS, I was trying to call all the HODs, head of the departments of different disciplines, and trying to persuade them, hey, clinical is just something good, nice. You have to do it, good for your patients, good for you, good for your CV, good for everything. They said, oh, all right. I mean, let's see. Then I called VC, Vice Chancellor, and said, can you call a meeting of all the HODs? He said, okay. Then he called the meeting. He was there. So then everybody was very attentive, and then they understood. They understood the reasons and then the idea behind this, because they put a ear to that when VC was asking him. And as a result, now I'm having 5 or 6 investigator-initiated trials in offing, right? So, but that was not happening when this humble person was knocking their doors. So this is one thing. People are not really very much aligned to go for these kind of things, whether it's a waste of time. We have just, of those 3 hours practice, if I'll talk to the patient and you take care of them, I'm seeing one patient in 5 minutes. So 12 patients in 1 hour. So means 36 patients in 3 hours. That is where the problem is. And no one would, I mean, no one probably can make a formula whereby everybody will be going for it. We have to pick and choose. We have to find people who probably are good and really concerned, and they then will be the examples. They will be the models. They will be the, in fact, torch bearers and beacon holders. They will be then making other people to follow. So probably whatever you're going, आप फरिश्ते भी लाओ ना, बोले बेकार आदमी है यार ये. I mean, that's the problem with us. So we have to live in the real world. We have a given situation. It's not an ideal situation. The given situation में whatever best we can, उसके लिए try करना चाहिए.
Just
Sorry, I'm not a panelist, but I'm inserting myself into the panel there for a moment. I just wanted to share that from my perspective. I think someone put it really nicely this morning that patient and public involvement and engagement is not a model or a tool or whatever. It's like a shift in a mindset. And I think for us, we've had that shift in our mindset and we've implemented it where we have power, where we have actual influence, where we can actually change how things are done. And that is in the world of initially critical care research and now more so. Dr. Farah has Sugar Khanum has a potential of making a change in the IRB. So that's what your group is focused on. And I think we're all trying to do what we can and actually practically do. But the vision, I think, is to change the mindset not only for research but healthcare, and influence those interactions as well. And we've had a recent very nice example of bringing together patients who were survivors of acute encephalitis and clinicians who treated them, to have joint discussions what matters to patients. And the doctors walked away from that with a whole new kind of understanding of the patient experience and to change. Exactly. So, and we agree with you. I think the aspiration and vision is to fundamentally change how we probably do healthcare. But we've started where we have some power and ability and hoping that that ripples out.
Just wanted to make one little comment that Dr. Madiha Hashmi always says that we should strive towards PPPIE, which is physician, patient, and public involvement and engagement. So, that might be our next step.
No, I think, Timo, you're absolutely right. And Dr. Asra, that's a really good question. So I just want to give you one example of a non-trial engagement. So I have a project called, it's on antimicrobial resistance. And everyone, you're all in the healthcare business, antimicrobial resistance is a really huge problem. If clinicians and scientists sit in a room without engaging with the public, nothing is going to happen. So this initiative that I have, we are trying to engage with communities who are most at risk on what do we do about AMR. And there's not going to be an answer immediately, but at least we're trying. It's not a trial. So we engage with linguists, communities, teachers, children. So the whole spectrum to help gather input on policies.
One of what we said is on antimicrobial resistance. The knowledge of public actually about antibiotics, even in general, very basic, and about resistance, and the results were really, they were alarming. And recently we looked at genetic testing or genetic diseases, and the results again, even the knowledge of clinicians, because in Pakistan there's a lot of congenital heart disease, many of the inherited disorders because of mixed marriage, cousin marriages and all that. And the question is, should there be premarital genetic testing? So we looked at that, and again, that will shape us to look into policy making, because there's no policy in Pakistan about premarital testing. So this is very important to, first of all, gauge what people know and what they think, and then you move forward what to do about it.
Okay, yes, Dr. Aisha.
I have one comment. When we talk about primary healthcare, there is a pillar, one principle, that is community participation. So community participation and engagement throughout the decision-making process. And now the concept of PPIE, the patient public involvement and engagement. We have been doing all these. So if you, I agree with all those panelists, which and Dr. Azra just rightly mentioned that we have established interventions which are research proven, and we have those interventions which are under trial. So for under trial interventions, we are talking about using PPI in interventions in trials, and the protocol, or you can say the level of engagement will be a little bit different for established interventions which are proven by research, and we need to convince the public to let this, for example, vaccination coverage, any kind of vaccination that comes under EPI or is practiced, used throughout the world, then it is a proven thing. So in that case, we need public health personnel, a public health workforce to work in the community and get them convinced to use this intervention. But here they are volunteering, and you are responsible for the outcome if something goes wrong. And here some more tricky to involve patients and what to tell them and what not to tell them. We talk about breaking bad news, and on the other hand, right to information, but information in a sugar-coated way, or information in not that way, or not telling the patient directly he or she is having cancer, or telling the attendants. So there are different scenarios actually we need to work on. Thank you.
Thank you, Anisha. So I became part of a PPI group by accident, actually. And that was by accident. So my aunt I got a call one day at about 11 at night that my aunt is passed out in the bathroom, and her children were not in the country, and her husband couldn't walk, so I had to rush. Anyways, got her to Ziauddin. Now the treatment started. The first thing they do is they give me a form to sign. Now I'm not signing for my mother. I'm not signing for my sister. I'm signing for my aunt, an individual whom I cannot take a decision of. And that was must. And the form was French to me. Literally, I was skeptical about signing off on something, and especially for someone I was the family, but not really family. And then what was written was totally French. I didn't know. Anyways, I signed it off. Then came the part where the doctor had to break the news. Like you mentioned, cancer. Ironically, she was diagnosed with colon cancer, stage 2. Now the doctor asked me, "Are you the son?" I'm like, "No." Who are you? I'm like, "I'm her nephew." "Where are the children?" I'm like, "They're on their way. So it's going to take them about 18 to 20 hours. And I don't think I can contact them because they're in the air." He's like, "We need to take certain decisions." What I liked about that doctor was that he considered me like a 5-year-old. So one thing we talk in HR is an employee experience. When an employee joins, how is the onboarding done? The whole experience. The same way, it's like he onboarded me on the whole thing. He made me a partner. Instead of making me a attendant, I felt as if now I was partnering with him to share certain information, because he clearly said that, you need to inform them. I don't have time to go on the phone with the family and give them like an hour of it, because they'll have a lot of questions. So you need to partner with me. So the way he shared the information with me and the way I communicated ahead, it was all because of he got down to my level. He didn't consider himself as a specialist. He didn't ask me. He literally took me as a 5-year-old. He actually explained what colon was to me. He explained the outcome, and then, so of course, he didn't have a lot of time, but that's what I'm saying. So that's when Arisha reached out to me, and I met her, and I'm like, I'm in, because ironically, I have a lot of elderly family members. And a lot of their children are abroad. So I'm like usually the go-to guy who's in Ziauddin. It's not a good thing, but when I go to Ziauddin, I feel like I think Dr. Asim doesn't get the parking privileges I do, because I'm such a regular there. So that's what I felt. That's how I understood the importance of patient and, the involvement and engagement. So just sharing my experience.
Fantastic. And I think this has been A very interesting panel discussion. And to close off, I would like to ask all of our panelists if they have any last words, takeaways for our group, any key points that they should consider, and what they think about this network and what it should look like. So anything.
Oh, thank you. This has been such a wonderful meeting. I wish all of you best of luck. And just one note to finish my bit. So PPIE or Community Advisory Board or community consultation is only one way of embedding voices of communities into our work. There are many other things that we are already doing. One is surveys, another one is qualitative work, one is just talking to your colleagues and your own staff. So this is only one way, and this doesn't answer every question. It's only one tool in your whole toolbox. Thanks.
Keep it simple. You're going to start this fabulous new network where you're all talking to each other. So just share what you're doing that works. Start there. What worked? What went well? Then start thinking about, well, it would be even better if. But like good teachers in a classroom, I'm afraid, what works well? Do the praise, share the love. Then start the niggly bitty bits that didn't quite work out. So share the love, seriously. Tell each other what you're doing, how you're doing it, and when it went well, because it will.
Well, anything which needs to be implemented somewhere, the important thing is it needed there or not? We all are very, very clear that it's much, much needed here. One. Two is that, I mean, a journey of 1,000 miles are the first step. And trust me, I mean, I have seen lots of movements and lots of initiatives here and internationally as well. So in 3, 4, 5 months, last 3, 4, 5 months, the kind of success which you are getting is tremendous. I'm sure these are the big claps as well, of course, but it's the passion and it's the commitment and it's the organized activity which you're doing, catering to the needs. It is selling it correctly with correct selling prepositions. So this is what is required. So that's number two, which is really, I mean, and I would say that anybody who is slightly sensitized with this issue will come up with this. Third, it's a new thing. PPI is a new thing here, especially this part of the world. It's not very old, say a couple of decades, or if you see globally, but it's pretty new here. So there's no baggage. I tell you, you have all the world in front of you. You have nice fertile land. Go and sow your seeds and keep moving.
Thank you. So अपने हिस्से का काम करें. So do your part. That's important. Do what you can do. So in whatever capacity. So that's important. Secondly, collaborate, share ideas, because when I walked in, I knew little, but when I walk and go home, I have heard so many great ideas in the conversation we had in the morning. So it was amazing. So that's, I think, the real strength of collaboration. Thank you.
I always tell everyone, and I say the same thing, ask. If you don't know something, if you're not sure about something, ask. But having said that, go when you're asking a question, have this level of maturity that you might not get the answer you're expecting. So be ready to get the answer. So my always to everyone today is ask, question. That's it. Thank you.
I'm just shouting it out now. Thank you so much for your time. That was an incredible discussion, and we learned so much from all of you all the time. So amazing. Thank you.
No, please say. Thank you very much. That does bring us to the end of this National PPI Summit 2025. Very sadly, but don't be sad, because the PPIE National Summit 2026 is only 1 year and 14 days away. So please mark your calendars. the National Summit next year will be happening on the 14th of November. We don't know yet where. We are hoping that maybe even some of our new national collaborators would like to host us in their cities, in their places. We'd love to come. If not, you are always welcome to come to Karachi, and we will host you. This has been really incredible, and Arisha and I have a lot of, and then Professor Nikit and Verda, who's our fantastic fourth coordinator as well. We have a lot of delusions, dreams, and a vision. We will not let go. We will not stop. So we will keep at it and make sure that you are all joining in. We are definitely share the love. We definitely have a lot of joy to do this. And anyone who wants to be part of the journey with us, we would really like to share it with you. So get in contact with us if you're not already. If you want advice, you want to collaborate, you want to disagree with us, we welcome that.